They call it the medieval warm period. And if you ask, they'll point to this graph as the proof. And this is actually a good graph. We like this graph. It's well sourced. It comes from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change from their first report in 1990. When the IPCC first met, one of the things they realized was that the infant science of climatology didn't know that much about temperature data over the last millennium. They turned to someone who had been studying the problem for a long time. H. Lamb was an eminent scientist, a climatologist, and someone who had spent decades collecting evidence of temperature data over the last 1,000 years. He studied tree rings and agricultural records and historical accounts of weather and climate events and put together the first credible graph of temperatures in northern Europe over the preceding millennium. And it was this data that the IPCC drew upon for their first attempt at modeling the last 1,000 years. The most eye-catching feature of the graph is the large hump around 1000 AD, generically labeled medieval warm period. Denialists have seized on this and still insist that this early, incomplete picture is the most accurate and up-to-date snapshot available of global climate history. There are a few questions about this graph. Lamb's data came almost entirely from northern Europe and overwhelmingly from central England. Could it be that the so-called warm period was a regional effect, a local aberration peculiar to the northern Atlantic region? And in 2005, the Academy was commissioned by Congress to rule on the hockey stick controversy. The report was released in 2006 and contained some criticism of the hockey stick process, but overall affirmed the graph as an accurate summary of current knowledge. The basic conclusion, the Academy wrote, was that the late 20th century warmth in the northern hemisphere was unprecedented during at least the last 1,000 years. This conclusion has subsequently been supported by an array of evidence that includes both additional large-scale surface temperature reconstructions and pronounced changes in a variety of local proxy indicators, such as melting on ice caps and the retreat of glaciers around the world, which in many cases appear to be unprecedented during at least the last 2,000 years. So the National Academy had weighed in. Their verdict? Medieval warming, not so much.